What's up guys, Vipractic here, and today I'm doing a brand new build. This is going to be on the TBS Source 2 frame. So let's go ahead and go over all the components I'm going to be using in this build. So starting off, we're using the TBS Source 2 frame, and the top plate's over here, and we got the frame all pretty much together. If you're wondering how to put this thing together, it's pretty simple. I did do a video on that, and I'll leave that a link down below. Then we also are using the T-Motor F55A Pro 4-in-1 6S ESC. And then we're also going to be using these Brother Hobby R6 2207 1750 kV motors. These are really nice looking motors. See how it's like all like anodized? Looks really cool. And then we're also using the Helio F10 flight controller, or the binary you can call it. And that's pretty much going to be plug and play almost with the ESC. We will have to switch some pins around since they are not exact. I'm also going to be using the Foxier Predator V2 in this one, since I had this one laying around from a quad box I got a while back. So what else were you doing? Oh, and then we're also using one of these brand new, actually got the data out of the box here, is a TBS Unify. This is the HV Race 2. So this is the one with the black heatsink. And I did a video on this one as well, and you can see a link to that below as well. So let's go ahead and get building. What I always like to start off with is kind of getting this layout here in the beginning, like where my stack is going to be and all that. So pretty much what I did is I put I like to use bolts. I do not like using plastic standoffs because they break real easily. As you'll see here, I have like these little metal kind of standoffs in there. I'm not sure where I picked those up from, but they come in really handy just to give it a little bit of elevation, so you don't have to worry about the ESC touching the bottom of the carbon fiber to short anything out. And then I also did already soldered on my XT60 just to save some time on the video. So what I always like to start off with is mounting my motors once I get the ESC kind of where I'm going to have it. So you always want to use, like I always stress this in my videos, you always want to use some type of, what is this thing called? Loctite for their bolts so they don't vibrate loose. I believe this is one I got in a quad box as well, I believe. Let's see here. Let's pop that little top off. Let me do that. And this is going to be a 6S build. So we're doing that. It's going to be a little racer. So I only have one technical 6S racing quad, which is my Ghost. So I wanted to build another one. So this is my opportunity to do so, and I want to do it. Especially since the new year is going to start off. So what you want to do is, you get your motor, put it on there to line it up. You want to make sure your wires are facing towards the arm, so they go on top of it. And this build, I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm not putting any crazy 3D printed stuff on it or nothing like that. Not yet, anyway. I just wanted to kind of get the build out. I'm not really sure what the color scheme I want on this quad. Probably do something with purple, since the motors have that purple anodized purple like that. So we'll go ahead and screw the motor in. And what I always do when I screw motors in, I do them like a wheel. So when you do like lug nuts on the tire, you just kind of do it crossed. Do one and then do the other one. Let's see here. Made this one a little too tight. There you go. Really interesting to see how these motors do. I've never used I think I had R4 returner, R4s maybe, a long time ago. And they were the 2206, I believe. They were pretty good little smooth motors. I liked them. So we'll see how these do. Get all these on there like so. I can get this thing to screw in. Alright. One last one. And then we'll get to, I'm not going to do all the motors on the video, just save time. You do one, you can do all 4 of them, same way. If you want to follow my build with me, you can. Because I will be leaving links to everything down in the video comments below. And they are affiliate links. They do help support the channel. And they help support me to show you guys new products to show and get some more even cool stuff. This one's not going in that crate. Must not be straight. I don't know. Alright, I'm going to go around them like this and just make sure they're tight, so they're all snugged up and tight. And then what I like to go ahead and do is I take it a zip tie, and I like to zip tie it. Probably going to go ahead and do it right there. Let me get some zip ties here. Sure, we had some out already. But then I get to zip tie it just so it's in one spot. So you don't have to worry about the wire moving around. It kind of gets it ready to solder up anyway. Once we get to that step. Don't want it too close to that lip because then it'll make a hole in the... Yeah, that should be good. Just like that. You don't want it too close to this little lip here because then if you do that, it might make a hole in the wire, then you'll hate yourself for it. But yeah, so go ahead and trim that off there, and then I'm going to do all 4 motors, and we'll be right back. Alright, I got the motors all mounted onto the frame, and next thing we're going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to go ahead and put these standoffs, these nylon standoffs, onto the ESC. I already started doing that. I like to go ahead and do that so it secures the ESC down, makes it tight, so we can go ahead and solder the wires to it. Then pretty much after that, we'll go ahead and put the flight controller, video transmitter, all that stuff together. This video probably will be 2 parts, maybe even 3 parts, depending on how I want to break it down. Because I want to do kind of like the powertrain first. We do the motors, we do the ESC, and then we kind of just wrap everything up, make sure it's all nice and tight and tucked in. Then we probably mount the flight controller, wire that all up, 4-in-1 ESC, VTX, receiver, and then it's pretty much done. Camera too as well. But let's go ahead and continue with the build. So I'm going to go ahead and finish putting these little nylon standoffs. I like to use nylon just because they don't conduct electricity, and they usually don't break, especially since I'm using metal screws on the stack. Usually don't have a problem with them breaking, since all the stress is usually going onto the middle bolt and not so much the spacer. So I'm just going to tighten these down a little bit. Okay. You don't want to make it too tight. You want to kind of make it, and then what I do is, since this is a soft mounted ESC, I have to go ahead and just do a little wiggle to see how tight we are. So you don't want to make it too tight. Okay. Yep, and then we're good there. So let's go ahead and solder everything up. I'm going to go ahead and warm up my soldering iron, and then we can go ahead and do that. Alright, the soldering iron's all warmed up, and what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and start trimming these wires and pretty much get them to where I want them. So I know I want to come into the middle. This protects the motor wires so much better, and it actually looks a lot cleaner than going from the outside like that. So what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to kind of just eyeball it here and kind of tuck them to where I want them. I'll shut my phone off so it stops messaging me. Alright, so let's go ahead and tuck these wires in. Alright, so I got them kind of straightened out. Nope, did not get straight. There they go. So I wanted all 3 just like that, so I know where they're going. And then we're going to get my side cutters here. I'll kind of hold it there, and then just trim it right to the edge of the ESC, like so. Oh, that didn't work. Great. There you go. And then do the other one. And it doesn't matter what order we're putting these wires in, because we're going to be switching the rotation in B-heli anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I like to just make it so it just looks nicer. So I know they're middle's middle and whatever. And I like to make sure they're all bunched together, because some other wires will get in the way, and then they'll not line up right when you go to solder it. So that one's there. And then we got our last one right here. All right. So we got all three of those, and then just gonna strip it back a little tiny bit, about, I don't know, a few millimeters. And I'm just gonna strip it. You can also use a razor blade too to strip it as well if you want. Did I just mess up and cut the wire to this one? I sure did. Oh, that sucks. Didn't even notice it. Yeah, that's my way. Get out of here, wire. There we go. Thank God I didn't cut it too short, because I've been really pissed. Alright. So that one should be about right there. Alright, so I can strip it. Strip it. Twist them all up. Then I'll get our soldering iron out. And the solder I like to use is the 6337. I just feel like it gives you a really good solder joint. This is what I'm using. I just got this at Radio Shack. I could get the nicer one. I know a lot of Radio Shacks have gone out of business in a lot of places. Even the one I got this one at said they're going out of business, so they're still closing up, apparently. So I'm going to go ahead and just pre-tin all these wires here, and then we'll, I'll probably go ahead and skip over doing the, doing all of them, because it's just a waste of time. You see me do one. So what are your guys' thoughts on me doing some maybe live streams? Maybe do some live streams. I'm not sure if I'll do a build. Maybe just play some liftoff. Even maybe play some video games. I'm a big video gamer. I play Destiny quite a bit. Really looking forward to Anthem coming out. As I actually did play it. Played the demo. It was like last weekend. And I really did enjoy it. I already have it pre-ordered. So I'm going to be playing that quite a bit. Yeah, so I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on doing some live streams of me doing some builds or whatnot? I have to figure out how to actually do it. I know I have OBS on my computer to use to do live streams. I just need to figure out how to actually use it. So that's that. But let's go ahead and solder up this ESC up here. And I really love how this solder flows to a joint. You just kind of just put your solder iron there and just feed it some solder and it just goes on nice. Like that. I want to need a little more. See if that kind of... There we go. Alright, so we got all three of those done. And then we're going to go ahead and get I have to use needleless pliers. A lot of people use tweezers. I like to use needle pliers. I just feel like these tiny ones, this gives me a good amount of leverage on the joint, on the wire. Let's go ahead and turn this in. I want to make sure it's flat and not sticking up, because there's that heat sink kind of makes it kind of weird, because it kind of it's like above where you need a solder to. Let's see how that goes. Let me look at that closer. That's pretty decent. Pretty decent. I bet this camera sucks when it takes zoom. I have to buy a new camera. We'll see. Get this guy in there. Sorry, this sucker on there. See? It sucks. Got a piece of solder on the board there. Alright, maybe I will use some of those pliers and some tweezers because I can't really get within here that well. Actually, this one's the middle one. I have to redo this one. Doesn't that suck? Alright. That should be better. Oh, you can't even see me. I'm in the way. Let's move this around. Much better. And this thing actually wants to heat up the joint. Yeah, I might need a new soldering tip now. Nope, that's good. There we go. Checking it out, make sure it looks okay. Yeah, it's pretty shiny. It looks good. I can't stand using those stupid tweezers, not strong enough. Okay. So that's you don't like how that joint looks. It's like not getting hot enough. There we go. And you know what's really crazy is that he's going out a little bit. Because the metal, what's it call it? Heat sink was actually kind of touching the wire, so I had to move it over a little bit. And this one I might be a little too long. Yeah, it is too long. That's what I thought. So I'm going to move this one over. Let's trim that. All right. Let's make sure I get that lined up right. Come on. There we go. Alright, got all 3 of them in there. All done. So we'll go ahead and kind of move those a little bit around. See how we like them. But then we're going to go ahead and do all 4 of them. And I'll be right back after we do all 4. Alright guys, so we went ahead and I got it all soldered together. See, it's all in there. Nice, and like how it came out. And then I used some extra zip ties right in the front here just to hold it to where I wanted it. And I came through the middle. I know that's going to probably make my camera placement really tight, even though it is using a micro camera. But we're going to go ahead and try to do that anyway. I did have to put in the header for the 401 ESC just to keep me, because these wires are going down there like that. And then we're going to have the battery strap that's going to come down there too. So I wanted to make sure I have room for it in there. So let's go ahead and put that in there. And then, yeah, so let's go ahead and install the flight controller right now. And I'm not really caring how this is oriented. I want this to be pretty much oriented. Let's see here. Not in the back, because that will just be too much. Yeah, because we need to still put the capacitor in. Let me see if I have enough room here if I do that. Let's see. Let's top. We'll have enough room to do that, but I need to still install the capacitor in there. That might work. Let's go ahead and install the capacitor and see how that's going to go. This ESC came with 2 capacitors, so I'm just going to use one. We do have a 470 microfarad capacitor I'm going to use with this. This ESC is pretty cleaned, so I'm going to assume it's from whatever I've seen online. So we're going to go ahead and use that. And just kind of place this where I want it. I want this as far as back as I can get it. But I want this to lay flat, and I want this to go down. So we're going to probably put it just like so. Like that. So we can get a little more angle to it. So we'll go ahead and turn that back on. Turn the soldering iron back on because I shut it off. And then, so what we're going to go ahead and do is we'll install this capacitor, tin up these little pads here, or these little pins, I guess you want to call them, whatever you want to say on the, yeah, they're warmed up. Good. Okay. So I just glob some solder on the ends. Good amount. Like so. And then we're going to go ahead and install that. I usually install the capacitor like one of the last things I do, but this one, we're going to probably have to do that. We'll switch solder on that side. And I'm going to put some dabs of solder on top here too. If I can get it in there. Come on. That's what sucks about this big wire. And then the little, how you know which one it goes is usually it's the longer one. Since these are both the same size, it's the minus sign right there. That's negative. So we'll just go ahead and take this sucker. I'll clean this up a little bit with some solder that's splattered around. Try to get that on there. Well, that didn't work. Let's get that on there. Looks like I got it. It looks really terrible though. I hate having little spikes. I'm smoothing those out right now. There we go. Nope, that one popped off. So you have to like really, especially when you're already soldered something, just so freaking hard. Sure I can get that on there. Come on. Alright, now it's on there. That's done. Alright, so now it's done. Sorry, that took a little longer than I thought it would take, but it's on there now. So, alright, so let's go ahead and get our flight controller. Like I said, I'm going to run it like this. And I'm going to talk about this header in the next coming video. But for right now, we're just going to go ahead and plug it in. So, and stick it in there. So that should do it for this video. We got the motors on, we got the ESC all soldered up, and we got the flight controller on there. We got a capacitor. So pretty much a lot of the main components are on there. We just have to install the camera, install the VTX and receiver, and wire up the flight controller. So stay tuned to part 2, where we go ahead and we do the next part, where we're going to wire up the flight controller. I appreciate you guys watching, and if you haven't already, subscribe. I'll see you guys in another video. Peace.